In the summer of 1980, the heat in Birmingham, Alabama, clung to everything, like old secrets. And inside apartment 6B at the Eastwood Public Housing Complex, 13-year-old Carla Corley settled in the worn cushions of her family's couch to watch television with her mother. Just an ordinary August evening. Until it wasn't. Around midnight, Carla's mother retired to bed. She recalled nothing out of the ordinary. No knocks at the door, no footsteps in the hall. But by morning, something was wrong. When her mother awoke around 4:30 a.m., the apartment door stood wide open. The belt Carla had worn the day before lay coiled outside the threshold. Her new sandals set neatly by the couch, untouched. Chairs were overthrown. A glass bottle had been knocked over onto the floor, its contents seeping into the rug. But Carla was nowhere to be found. She'd left behind her money, her clothes, even her medication that she had to take daily. She hadn't gone far, at least not willingly. Whispers in the neighborhood hinted at something darker. Just weeks before, Carla had confided in someone about a troubling encounter out by Lake Purdy. Something no female, let alone a child, should ever face. But no official report was ever filed, and the police would not learn about the incident for another 18 years. 1 week before she disappeared, a group of older boys came by her apartment. Her family refused to let them in. But the implication, well, it hung heavy in the air. Was someone watching Carla? Waiting? When authorities finally began investigating, they found no trace, no fibers, no witnesses. Just signs of a struggle. Her case, it quickly faded into silence, like so many others from forgotten corners of the South. Years later, a man claimed he knew what happened to Carla. He said he'd seen things. Then he changed his story, just like that. Some say Carla was taken to keep quiet. Others say it was a matter of cruel convenience. Someone knew she wouldn't be missed right away. Still others believe she was never meant to leave Eastwood alive. Her mother clung to hope, but over time, even hope can dry up. Carla's sister, meanwhile, was warned, threatened, some say, not to keep digging, but she kept digging anyway. Theory swirled. Was she buried under concrete at a nearby construction site? Perhaps moved across state lines by someone? Maybe the case had been purposely buried. Evidence erased by someone with power in Birmingham's underbelly. In time, Carla was legally declared dead. But among women who lived in Eastwood during those years, her name still haunts the quiet. The air there seems heavier, as if the truth was never meant to leave. Carla would be in her 50s now, but for those who remember her, her laughter, her stubborn streak, her new school supplies waiting for 7th grade, she remains frozen in time. A girl stolen by the night.
Brookwood, Alabama, 1988. A town brushed with pine and red clay, where the air gets thick with secrets come July. That summer, Brenda K Green, 17, told her mama she was heading to visit some friends up in Abernett, 10 miles northeast near Highway 216. She caught a ride with a boy, one of those friends who knew the back roads well and said little too often. They made it as far as a weather-worn house across from Hosmer's grocery. The boy dropped her off at the stoop. Brenda knocked. No one answered. She waited and waited. By 9:30 that night, she called home. Told her mama she'd be home late. It was the last time anyone would ever hear her voice. And just like that, she was gone. At first, folks whispered she'd run off again. Brenda had vanished before. After all, she was a restless soul, troubled by small town expectations and boys with fast hands and faster lies. But this time felt different. She left behind no bag, no trace, no goodbye. She'd always come back before. This time, she didn't. Days passed, then weeks, then years, and with the silence came stories. One theory, though never confirmed, but whispered through porch screens and barroom shadows, claimed Brenda had stumbled into the path of a local family with deep roots and darker dealings. A certain surname came up more than once, one tied to bootleg whiskey and a string of missing girls dating back to the 60s. Another rumor that she'd witnessed something out near the old strip mine, a meeting she wasn't meant to see, involving men in uniform and something buried. There were even talks of her being seen hitching near the state line, barefoot and dazed. But no report ever stuck. No sighting ever held weight. In the absence of truth, only one thing remained: the porch where she vanished. Neighbors say on certain summer nights, the streetlight across from Hosmer's grocery flickers without cause. Some say they see a figure leaning in the shadows, watching, waiting. Brenda K Green was declared missing under suspicious circumstances, but no arrests were ever made. No body was ever found. Her mother bless her, still leaves the porch light on. So if you find yourself down Highway 216, keep your eyes on the shoulders of the road, because somewhere out there, the girl on the doorstep is still waiting.
In the sleepy heart of Greenville, Alabama, the morning of June 6th, 1984. It was already warm by 9:30 a.m. Sherry Lynn Marler, just 12 years old, tomboy tough and full of grit, stepped out of the First National Bank with a single dollar bill clutched in her palm. Her stepfather, well, he'd sent her across the street for a soda while he wrapped up important paperwork inside. It was only supposed to take 5 minutes. 10 tops. She was last seen crossing toward the Chevron station, wearing a red t-shirt, blue jeans, and sneakers. And she vanished into the still southern air. 15 minutes later, her stepfather returned to the pickup. No Sherry, no footprints, no can of soda. Just the rising heat and a peculiar, unsettling silence. At first, the law believed she might have just wandered off. A misstep. Maybe a runaway. But that theory didn't set right with anyone who knew her. Sherry had left behind her purse, her favorite things. And it was an afternoon she'd been excited about. Her grandma was baking pie, and her favorite TV show was going to be on later that night. Then came the sightings, odd ones. Witnesses from St. Stephen's, Alabama, from Conley, Georgia, even New Orleans. Each time, Sherry wasn't alone. They said she was with a man, about 50, husky, weathered like an old pine. One woman said she heard Sherry call him BJ. Another described the child as dazed and disheveled, like someone living just out of focus. Whispers began circulating, not just of strangers and abductions, but of shadows within. Was Sherry targeted because she was alone? Or was there something she knew or saw that summer morning that someone needed silenced? A few locals muttered about old truck routes and makeshift campsites off two-lane highways. Others spoke of men who drifted through town, just like ghosts, familiar faces with no name. One tip even suggested Sherry had been smuggled across state lines, trafficked under a name not her own. Her mother never stopped searching. Decades later, she still swears Sherry's out there somewhere, waiting to come home. And sometimes in the early morning hush, she swears she hears footsteps just outside, like a little girl walking back up the gravel drive. But Sherry Lynn Marler's name remains etched into Alabama's long memory of vanished children, lost under the weight of heat, time, and unanswered prayers.